Good evening, Coyote fans. Welcome into episode 21 of the Howling podcast. My name is Jordan Decker. Tonight, once again, I am joined by Chad Berger and Mark Wendt. As always, catch us on X at HowlWithUs3. We're on Facebook as well, the Howling podcast. Search for us there. If you would like to, you can catch me on X at JD605, Mark at WDiamond605, and Chad at Chad Berger, Birger at Chad Berger. As always, quick disclaimer to start the show. The opinions on this show are strictly ours and not of those of the university or athletic department. Tonight's show is once again brought to you by the Wakanda Peach Company out of Burbank, South Dakota. Wakanda Peach Company, where all your peach dreams come true. Tonight, USD men's basketball senior Max Burchill stops by. We will recap the week that was and look forward to what's ahead. But let's bring in Chad and Mark. Good evening, fellas.
Good to see you guys. Been a minute.
Well, yeah, we didn't do a show last week. It was kind of a crazy week. Mark, you ended up making the trek to the Twin Cities, caught the Gopher women on last Sunday. Correct. And so we were kind of going back and forth on Sunday on whether we should do a show or not. Jordan was actually in Pierre, South Dakota. So none of us were really in a great place. And then the guest that we had lined up had a phone that wasn't working. So it was just kind of a deal where I made the executive decision that I wasn't going to do the show by myself. So that was why we didn't have a show last week. But we're back and better than ever this week and ready to rock and roll. You guys got any comments or thoughts about the last couple of weeks here? Should we go through the results?
Let's dive into it.
Okay. So here's what we had in men's basketball. January 23rd, Yotes had a 102-91 win at UND. On the 25th, tough loss up in Brookings, 90-71. And then bounce back game hosting Omaha on January 29th. And if you were not there, I wasn't there, I feel sorry for myself and everyone else that wasn't there. That was just an electric game, electric atmosphere, big 91-87 win over Omaha. The women had a rough stretch after we had Coach Devin Amy on a couple weeks ago and lost 3 in a row. So hopefully we're not being blamed for those losses, but January 22nd lost 72-53 to NDSU, January 25th, 77-59 to SDSU, and then January 30th, 77-54 to Kansas City. But the Yotes were able to bounce back on Saturday with a 76-66 win versus UND. So, fellas, comments on the last couple of weeks here, real quick.
Yeah, a little bit up and down, right? But like you say, the Omaha game, Omaha game sticks out. Like that was a blast, and we'll get into it later, and even with Max here coming up. But
later, let's talk about it now. Let's talk about it right now. So we have a special guest here tonight. So our guest is Max, number 3 on your program, but number 1 in your heart, Mr. Burchill. Max, welcome to the show. Good to have you with us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
So Max, what was your thought when you saw this email come in with these guys want to have you on a podcast? What were you thinking at that point?
Well, I've seen definitely clips of, you guys' podcasts. I recognize all of you. I have a little bit of a closer relationship with Mr. Berger because I had him in class and he coached my brothers. I didn't play football for him, but yeah, I mean, I'll talk Yotes any day of the week. So
awesome. I wanted to hit you up about the most recent game, the Omaha game. I know there's probably trash talking goes on in every game, but I very rarely notice it. I noticed it that game. Was that more intense than it normally was?
I think, yeah, I would say that game was more than usual. I think that's, kind of how Omaha plays, just nothing dirty or anything like that, but they were on a roll and they knew it. I think they were 7-0 in conference, was it?
Yep.
So, I mean, they had, swag, confidence, And I think that helped us in the second half to kind of bring us back into the game and kind of, bring our own swag out a little bit.
Max, a couple weeks ago when my wife and I were fortunate and lucky enough to do the whole locker room VIP thing experience, Coach Petey had a saying. It was like, the thermostat versus a thermometer, right? Does he have a lot of those? And if so, what are some of those that stick out to you?
Yes, he usually has, something different before every game. Unless we go on a roll, and then he'll keep one thing kind of the same. He's definitely brought up the thermostat and the thermometer a couple times. I'm trying to think. Junkyard dog mentality. That's one of his. He prints out a picture of a junkyard dog. Usually when we're at home, because we got to protect, the junkyard, like he says. But yeah, I mean, little stuff here and there just to kind of get us motivated.
Max, a quick follow-up guy. Is there a junkyard dog necklace
No.
you guys are going to pass around on the bench? Is that
No.
something that's going to happen? Okay.
We got the
Just
belt
checking.
already. We got the belt already, so I think that's probably good enough. We don't want to look like Miami's football team or anything like that.
That's fair. That's fair.
Max, so you mentioned earlier I coached your older brothers in football a long time ago. There actually was a point in your USD career where I think you were like a redshirt freshman and you came into a game, and Jay Elson on the air on the Midco broadcast said, "Oh, Connor Burchill checking into the game," and then
he did that again this year.
Yeah.
And he's the only brother I have that didn't play college sports, so that's his claim to fame. And he makes sure my whole family hears it every time.
So Connor is just a great guy. He played quarterback at Lincoln back in the day. He's an assistant football coach right now out in Rapid City, and just a great guy. And then your other brother Nolan pitched at Minnesota. But what was it like being, the younger brother there of two really decent athletes when you were growing up in Sioux Falls?
Yeah, probably got my butt kicked quite a bit, but that's how, older brothers are. I always wanted to be better than them and everything. And that's kind of how, we all were with each other. We still talk a lot of smack to each other. Nolan still thinks he's the best basketball player in the family somehow. But yeah, it was a crazy, with three boys, it was definitely a crazy household, but I'm glad I was brought up in that environment.
So I was going to just quick follow up. Nolan did lead that Pats team to the state title his senior year too. So just wanted to bring that up.
Max, I wanted to, in an effort to make it a little bit about me, when I was in high school playing basketball, my coach wanted me to be the Max Burchill on my team, and I didn't take that very well. I wanted the ball. I thought I was good enough to, drop 30 a game. Was that ever a difficult? Have you always been like that, or was it a difficult thing to accept, like it was for me?
I think, in high school, I probably had more opportunity to have the ball in my hands, for the majority of the possessions. But I think in college, it was kind of just a realization that I'm probably not that guy. And for my team to be the most successful we can, it's probably not me creating offense for myself or others. Usually I'm going to be, someone's going to create an advantage, and then, I'll try to maximize the advantage, whether that's shooting or driving a closeout, turning a good shot into a great shot. So that's kind of just something I found through college basketball, I would say.
Max, why did you ultimately end up choosing the flagship to go to school for basketball and academics?
Well, it was kind of a crazy story. My parents both went here. My oldest brother, Connor, went here. and it was like free application day in high school. And I remember my mom made me apply, and I wasn't too. I mean, I would go to USD, but I was going to go to Minnesota just to be a student. I wasn't going to play collegiate basketball or anything like that, and I was actually more considering collegiate baseball. But and then Casey Kasbauer and COVID texted me, got it through my high school coach, and then I knew it's something I wanted to do, but I just kind of didn't have the opportunity. And I think the opportunity at USD was something that I could really, thrive in, play in front of my family, stuff like that.
So Max, you, I think Mark kind of alluded to the type of player you are earlier, but you're always the guy that seems to be doing like the little things out on the court to help the Yotes, get stuff done. I think there's a lot of names out there for the type of player that you are. Seth Davis, the CBS guy, calls a glue guy, or the guy who like gets everything done. But you've kind of embodied that role over the past couple of years for the Yotes, and I know every time my wife joins me for a game, she's always like, "Oh, he just is hustling out there, and he's always the first one on the floor getting those balls." What's it like with your teammates, and do they appreciate the things that you do out there, and like what's the talk around the locker room with the guys?
Yeah, for sure. I think another guy that kind of plays similar, at least defensively, would be Chase. And we always talk about taking a charge, because he took one last game against Omaha, against number 10 Sutton, who's kind of their guy. And I was joking with him. I was like, I was going to take a charge on him, but, ref's not going to call like 2 charges in the span of 5 minutes. So then I was like, use my opportunity. And then we were talking. I said, honestly, if someone draws a charge on you, it might be the most frustrating thing ever, because you never think it's a charge as the offensive guy.
Right.
And just trying to do little things, get an offensive rebound here down the stretch, or, getting a deflection, which leads to a turnover, something like that. Those are little things, but, getting an extra possession for your team can be the difference in a game. So.
Absolutely.
That tie up you had with number 10 there, kind of late in the first half. I think it was late in the first half. Yeah, that was a moment that had me off my feet.
Oh yeah. It's actually the second time I've got body slammed in a jump ball against BYU. Same thing happened. And
I couldn't tell, Max, but I think you did like the shrug, right? Like you got up from that and you kind of did the shrug him off.
I don't remember. I don't know. Maybe. It might have been instinct, but I don't know.
Yeah, that was an aggressive move by 10 there. Max, I just wanted to ask you real quick. You mentioned choosing USD, and there was obviously a coaching change since you've been here. Did you ever, this day and age, you guys have way more freedom to move where you need to be, or where you might like to be. Did you ever consider transferring after Coach Lee left?
No, I didn't. I was kind of in an interesting spot. Freshman year, I was end of the bench guy. Our team was stacked. We had Stan and AJ and stuff. So, and then sophomore year, I thought I had a shot at playing. I played in a couple games, and then I got hurt for the whole season. And then, we got a new coach. So it's just like, I didn't have film or anything like that. So he doesn't really know who I am. And then, but no, I always, Coach Peterson, when I met with him, when he came in, he said he was going to give me a chance. So I'm glad it worked out in the end. But yeah, I never really had too many thoughts about transferring or anything like that.
And you can't beat graduating from USD, become School of Business, right? That's going to take you a long way.
Yep. Twice. Masters too.
Yeah, Masters too. That's right. Yeah, that goes a long way. Max, so you guys have been able to play in a lot of fun road games, especially during the non-con season.
Mm-hmm.
But besides the SCSC and the Denny, what's been your favorite place, or a couple arenas maybe that you've you've played in?
I mean, when we played BYU and we won, we played in the Jazz Arena, so that was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And BYU, obviously everyone knows about their fan base, which it was in Salt Lake City, so a little bit farther, but I mean, it was packed out. I remember Paul was at the free throw line and the crowd was stomping on the bleachers and you could feel the floor shake, and it was just crazy deal. But so I'd say that for one. We played at Mississippi State, which was cool. Nebraska is always fun. I feel like Nebraska fans are a little bit crazy, so they're going to show up to anything Nebraska related. Wisconsin was cool, but yeah. Yep.
All right, Max, I got a question for you here. There was a point, and I'm trying to remember which game this was, but I think it might have been like maybe like the Denver game, there was a game earlier this season where you were on the bench, but Isaac Bruns stole one, and he went in, and it looked like he was going to try to dunk it, and the ball slipped out of his hands. Can Isaac Bruns dunk it? That's what I want to know.
He can.
Okay. So follow-up question. Between Paul and Isaac, who would win in a slam dunk contest?
Whew. I don't know. I don't know. You know, I can't really talk too much smack because I don't have very many dunk packages in my arsenal, you could say. So I don't know who would win. I don't know who would win between us three. I don't know who would win between them two. You know, Paul's my roommate, so I think I'd go Paul.
Good answer. All right, Mark, you got any more? You're on mute right now.
You're on mute. What a newbie.
I'm good. You got one, Jordan?
Do you and Paul get confused a lot, like one for the other, like during the Midco broadcast of the last game? There was a snafu. Just curious if you guys get mixed up.
Not too much. I think in practice, with film and stuff, sometimes you can't really see the faces. I think if I didn't wear a headband, I think Petey would get us confused more. But the headband's kind of a dead giveaway. I always get – there was one graphic my brother sent me, and it was Caleb, his face in the starting lineup, but it said Max Burchill. I don't know why I always get thrown into the mix-ups, but –
Max, why? One last one for me. What's the story with the headband? Has this been a thing going back a long time? Does it mimic a player you idolized growing up? Like, what's with the headband?
No, I didn't wear one in high school or anything like that. I think when Cruz and Mason and Toss and them were here, we'd kind of mess around some practices and we'd just wear like random accessories. And but also, my mom would always say, if you fix your hair in the game, I'm buzzing your head when you sleep. So I think that might be why. And I don't want to do that. So I just kind of put it on and forget about it.
Are you going to flick it into the stands after the game on Senior Day?
I don't know. Maybe.
Or maybe autograph it and donate it to Calling All Coyotes this spring later.
Yeah, I don't know I don't think it would go for much. It probably doesn't smell too great, but
so those that are watching out there on YouTube are able to chime in, and we do have a viewer. Mitch is wondering, have you ever thought of wearing a different color headband?
Well, we wear black on the road usually, but everyone on my team that wears a headband has to wear the same color. So, and some refs are like cool about it. They don't really care. And then some others, just have to be the headband police about it. So,
well, hey, hold on. We're not gonna give Max a fine from the conference here by talking about officials. So we'll
opinions on this show are strictly
yeah. They're just trying to enforce the rules, okay?
Yeah. I wish I could, but Maybe I need to get a red one though.
Wouldn't hurt.
But
I'd be all about it. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Or, they could do them as the giveaway. So they did a Hawaiian shirt giveaway for students here, a couple weeks ago. And then there was another giveaway. Wasn't there a visor or something?
they had a headband night too.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe you need to sign autographs afterwards.
I should. I think that was the NDSU game, so I don't.
Mhm.
I don't know.
We're not students, so I don't get any of that stuff.
Yeah.
You guys can get a Hawaiian shirt? Interesting.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mark. Mark has.
Thanks, Mark.
I saw that.
Max, I don't have a question. I just want to say when people, I think Travis Tice kind of coined the term or brought it to light, true yote. When I think true yote, you're one of the names that immediately pops to mind. So I've really enjoyed watching you, and I hope we get to keep watching you deep into March here, ideally. Yep. So really glad to have you here. Enjoy watching.
Appreciate it. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
You guys got a tough week coming up, a couple on the road. It's kind of that dreaded road trip where you go to Denver and then Oral Roberts. So
yeah.
TCB, Max. Take care of business.
Yep. Business trip.
Yep.
There you go. Well, good.
We'll eat the barbecue for you. You guys, you go get some dubs.
All right.
Best of luck this week, Max, and thanks so much for joining us. And we look forward to watching you on the court the rest of the season, and then following up with your, whatever you end up doing over the next few years. So
yeah, thanks for having me.
You bet.
Thanks, Max.
Thanks, Max. Go Yotes.
Yep, go Yotes.
All right, that was awesome.
Great guy.
We had a Go Yotes comment here from Joe. So,
oh, look at that. By the way, that was not the brother. That was the eye chart of the week a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Full disclosure.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's fine. Well, hey, we're doing good, but let's talk a little bit more about some things that are going on around USD and around the world. So, Mark, you want to take us through the news and notes for this week?
Sure. I found out I was at the Coyote radio show this past Monday and was notified of the Bridget Arns endowment that has started, and we'll discuss that more in a little bit, but pretty exciting news there. Grace Larkins is now third all-time in USD scoring, surpassing one of my all-time favorites, Chloe Lamb, on Saturday. Swim and dive closed out the Dakota Dome pool with a sweep of St. Thomas. And then the news in the world of NBA, I just decided to throw us in here because it was so completely shocking. A rather blockbuster trade between, I think 3 teams were involved, but Dallas and the Lakers are the ones most prominently, with Luka being traded for Anthony Davis, basically, and some other pieces there. But just if you're a Dallas Maverick fan, I don't know how you're handling that news today.
We know so many of you tuned in tonight to get the latest NBA trade insights. So
yes.
Thoughts and prayers to those kids that got Luka Mavs jerseys for Christmas.
They're all
this
over.
year.
Yeah. USD also announced they have hired an architect for the next round of Dakota Dome renovations, new indoor track facility to make the dome almost exclusively a football facility, and something that I've been rooting for a long time, softball field upgrades. And then Kansas City women's basketball self-reported an NCAA violation, according to a tweet that I read from Mr. J. Elson, resulting in their game versus St. Thomas being declared a forfeit. No news on whether the game we had down there with them will be a forfeit, which would be nice.
We don't even know what the violation was or anything either. So
I thought I heard academic.
Yeah, I saw that too, but
I
don't know anything more than that.
Yeah, Jordan knows that's a word, but we don't know what the violation actually entailed. So
how is something academic? What do you just misreport a grade for a test? I mean,
there's a lot of different ways that potential academic violations that could occur. I'm not going to sit and speculate as far as what it was, but yeah.
That's what we need. We need fire on this show. We need speculation.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that. Do we? Do we
I'm
need
just
do we
kidding.
need to be a hot take show?
I don't know. Wasn't that a review?
I think, yeah.
Well, some other sports in action. Mark, you mentioned the swimming and diving. They had their meet on, what was it? Friday, Thursday? What day was that?
Yeah.
What day is it right now?
Yeah, that might have been even 2 weeks ago. I know they had a meet up in Sioux Falls, that a Coyote Invitational, but yeah. This slide here is basically because there's so many things we could talk about with each one of those, that we would need a 2-hour show and not a 1-hour show. So
right,
we do want to give them a shout out, but
yeah, track and field. Like you have track and field on here, and there was lots of results, and we could spend a lot of time going through track and field results. But the ones I wanted to highlight were the indoor mile run. The number 1 and number 2 overall times for the University of South Dakota they happened at this DeLoss Dodds Invitational over the weekend, and Caleb Rivera and Mason Sindelar, I believe, were the 2 individuals, and so great job by them. They were like 4:03 miles, which I don't know if you've ever ran a mile, but that's ridiculous. That's yeah. So great job by them. And then tennis had the big W, and so like all this stuff, going on. Go to goyotes.com. Check it all out. They do a great job on that website of posting all the results. They have stories about everything to check out. So go to goyotes.com regularly, frequently, and go there often. And just take a look at what's going on. They've got a great calendar they put out all the time.
Swim and dive at senior day this weekend, or recently this weekend. And then track and field, just like, not to beat the same drum here, Chad, but they got a lot of folks moving into top 10 all time, whether it's jumps, throws, distance, short distance runs. Like they tweet it out all the time. It's all on the website, but go check out the recaps for sure.
Yeah. I saw a pole vault video posted the other day, and like I was getting pumped up watching pole vault all of a sudden. Yeah. And it's like it wasn't even February at the time. I'm like, let's go, but it is what it is. So let's go back and talk a little basketball, though. That's kind of the heart of what we're in is basketball season right now. And let's talk about the Omaha game for the men. This one, Mark, you were there. It was Wednesday night. Started off a little bit sluggish. Omaha was ahead. They put up a 50 burger in the first half, which, was not optimal for the Yotes at that point. 50-37 at halftime, but then the Yotes came out in the second half, and the defense was spectacular and held Omaha to 37 points. And the Yotes actually put up 54 there, so giving them a 91-87 victory over Omaha, which, as Max mentioned, they were previously undefeated in the conference. They had been doing this big thing on social media of, banging the trash cans after the game, and nope, there'll be no trash can banging in Vermilion this past week. So that was kind of a good deal. Mark, tell us a little bit about the game and your experience.
Yeah, I texted you guys at halftime. Looking at that score, you might think, well, it's kind of the same story that we've had all year, where we're just not playing enough defense to win some games. But I texted you guys at halftime, and I thought, we gave up 50, but it felt like 5 or 6 of those shots were truly lucky. Mm-hmm. Like it didn't, like the St. Thomas game where I think we gave up 60 at that half. That was just, it felt like 60. It felt like a legit 60. This felt like a lucky 50. And then in the second half, what was the attendance there? 1,600-ish. Like they were loud. It was loud in there, and they were engaged, and a lot of dudes stepped up, and it was super fun. Most fun game I've been to this year, easily.
Since the Wyoming game, right?
Since the Wyoming game, yeah. This was better.
That was a fun game as well. But yeah, the best conference game so far this season.
One thing I noticed too that was interesting is Omaha went 19 of 30 from the field in the first half, and USD shot the exact same, 19 of 30 in the second half. So it really was a tale of two halves.
Yeah.
I thought the rebounding, let me pull it up here. They lost 33 to 40 something, 33-45 in the rebounding category. But I thought the second half was just night and day different. They were hungrier. They were way more competitive. And Omaha was still, they just weren't shooting it well from beyond the arc. They were, I think, 2 of 13 from beyond the arc, while USD went 5 of 7. So I know we texted this, but if they played that half of basketball, like, they are one of the best, if not the best, in the conference. Like, if they played that way in the second half, they're going to be tough to go up against. So it was really good to see that from these guys.
And I think the big story was Dre Bullock. I mean, Dre put up 31 points in this one, 10 of 17 for field goals, 6 of 10 from 3-point range. And it felt like that second half, whenever he shot it, I'm like, it's good. He was just shooting the lights out there.
Was it a cast on one, or how many fingers was it on?
I think it was just on one. Yeah.
Just the one? Yeah, and basically post game, he's like, that cast off, just wait.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, Isaac Bruns, Mr. Iceman, he's kind of becoming Mr. Consistent here.
Mm-hmm.
That mid-range jumper, no one really wants to guard it. He can take it in and avoid those big guys on the other team, and he's putting up 15, 20 a night, and in this game put up 23 points and didn't turn the ball over. Chase Forte had 14 and Ashton Smith had 13. And then you notice there wasn't a whole lot of scoring from the rest of the guys. So that was kind of the big thing. But,
there was a tweet I saw, I should have put it in here, about Isaac Bruns. Omaha went up 14, I think, and Isaac scored the next 5 or 6 baskets or something. Maybe he had a steal in there, I forget. But it was, if you looked at the play-by-play it was Isaac Bruns. So he had a really good stretch. And the other thing I would say is Ashton Smith's 13. Boy, it felt like he had more than that. He played really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
Down the stretch, too. I mean, big plays. There was that one where he got fouled going up, and I thought, like, he got up so quickly, I thought he was going to go after the Omaha guy. And luckily, all of his teammates were there to kind of be like, yeah, great job, and kind of corral him a little bit. Because, that was quite exciting. And then I was going to mention, the Paul Bruns basket. Paul was kind of having an off night shooting, but he did drive in and make a big layup there at the end to, get his 2 points for the night, but it was a big 2 points. The other one is Boom. Boom's having a great couple games stretch here.
Mm-hmm.
He's been forced into some action because Cameron Fens is out for the season. I think we mentioned that a couple weeks ago, but he's playing really good basketball and getting some minutes. I think in this one he got a little bit of foul trouble, but if I remember, let's see, what did he have? Oh, he only had 2 in this one, but he's doing a good job and giving the Yotes some pretty good minutes off the bench inside. So any other comments, Mark? I know you highlighted some of this stuff on here, the 32 for 64. Did you want to talk about that?
It's got to be, I don't know when's the last time we shot 50% for a game. It's got to be a minute. I just, like Jordan said, it was just, you take the first half and flip it, and that's basically what it was.
Mm-hmm.
So like I say, it was an absolute blast of a game to be at. Absolute blast.
Well, and so we've mentioned all season long how it seems like the player who happens to be on the program for that game always steps up. And we noticed this early on in the season, just some observations. And so, Mark, who was on the program on Wednesday night?
Mr. Dre Bullock was on the program.
Well, you happen to get credit Adam Pearson on this one, but you happen to get a picture with Mr. Bullock doing his post-game interview with the television crew here, and you're standing in the background holding up the Dre Bullock program, which is kind of iconic. It's almost like the Wilt Chamberlain holding up 100 thing here. We're gonna put it in the Louvre. I mean,
That's
wherever.
awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, those are a couple of my favorite pictures of all time. It was a spur of the moment decision. I was standing there talking with the scores table there after the game, just kind of shooting the breeze, and I looked over, and of course Dre was being interviewed by Midco, and there was no one behind him, and I knew he was on the program, so I grabbed one and just walked over there, and luckily Adam was kind enough to shoot a couple pictures. So it's my new profile picture. I love it.
Spectacular. We love it. So, we've been doing this all season, all the games that I've been at, Mark's at all the games, but whenever someone scores, we hold up the programs and kind of wave them around. And I know some of the players have really enjoyed it and caught on, and some of the players probably think we're a bunch of weirdos for doing that, but it's kind of a fun deal. Shout out athletic department. If you wanted to do autograph sessions after the game, get a table and some Sharpies set up and have the kids get their programs, or the adults get their programs autographed by the player. That would be kind of a cool little thing.
I agree. I'd be in line.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about the current Summit League men's basketball standings as we sit today. Here's the standings. St. Thomas and Omaha are both at the top of the conference at 8-1 each. That one loss to Omaha was us, right? Then below them, South Dakota State is 6-3. They had a big loss the other day up in Grand Forks.
That's
and then
shame.
North Dakota State went 0 this week. They've been struggling the last little bit here. They're down to 5-4. But then you can see USD's right in the mix there with that 4-4 record. So, big stretch coming up here, and some opportunities to really make some strides in the standings.
Yeah, we mentioned off air, but St. Thomas looks like a juggernaut right now, at least.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best team I've seen to date that we've faced. And then you just look at those, like it's a jump. Everyone's bunched together there from 3 to 4, 5, 6, 7, 3 to 7. I think a 3 seed's in play yet. We got to figure out how to win on the road, but
Well,
these
we
next
mentioned
2 games are going to be massive.
I think the next 3 games are going to be massive here. They're all against the bottom 3 teams. So Denver, at Oral Roberts. That's always a tough road trip for the Yotes. It's one of those things where the Denver to Tulsa thing, it's not a quick bus ride. It's a legit trek to get there. And then Kansas City will be the following week at the SCSC. So the next 3 games are going to be really, really big for the Yotes. Really can't afford to slip up on any of those. Would you guys agree?
it'd be really nice to win them.
Yep. Because after those 3 comes a pretty big game on February 16th. So,
yeah.
And if things work out that way, I mean, yeah, like Mark said, you're going to be vying for that 3 spot against SDSU on that Sunday. Maybe the 2, maybe Omaha slips up. I doubt it. But yeah, you guys are right. Just matchup wise for USD2, I think St. Thomas is the toughest one. Like they're just at a different level. So I think we have them at home in a couple weeks, but we can talk about that down the road, I suppose.
Yeah, that's on February 19th. It's a Wednesday night. So
Wednesday night.
We got plenty of time until that one comes along. Right now I think the big one is got to beat Denver in Denver. And Denver is much improved over the last little stretch here from what they were earlier in the season when we saw
They played Omaha real close yesterday.
Yeah.
Yep. And the way things ended in Denver last year, I'd be a little pissed off and ready to just put a beat down.
Yes.
Well,
put that picture on the bulletin board.
I'm sure they won't give us the same officials, but yeah, the jersey that was tugged sideways and no call was made.
Let's leave it at that.
Yeah. That one. Whew. All right.
That was a great game, though.
Yes. Well, it was interesting. Well, let's talk a little bit about women's basketball then. The Yotes played at the Swinney Center in Kansas City on the 30th, and tough one here, 77-54 loss on that one. Mark, a couple things you highlighted on here. The attendance, 365. Not
Loud and proud.
great for that one. Yeah. And then, as far as the Yotes go, kind of lost all the quarters except for the fourth, came back and, got that quarter point in the fourth quarter. If this was the old Continental Basketball Association from when I was growing up, they gave these things called quarter points that came for playoff seeding, but doesn't really mean anything here. But Yotes did, finish the game strong with that 15-14 advantage in the fourth quarter. We'll see. Go ahead.
How they got that game done in over an hour and a half. That was the fastest moving. I think the first quarter there wasn't a dead ball till the under 4 minutes left.
Right.
Just anyways.
Well, those officials aren't getting paid by the hour, so they want to get it in and out. Apparently, I won't. That's all I'll say. As far as the individual stats go, Carly Duffney was the leading scorer with 17. Grace Larkins had 13. She also had 8 rebounds and 7 assists. Alexi Hempy had 11 on the game, and Cassidy Carson had 11 as well for the Yotes. Overall, we mentioned Grace had 7 assists. The team finished with 9. So, it's kind of a trend we've seen this year. Not a whole lot of assists coming, especially from people not named Grace Larkins. And so lots of opportunities there for the Yotes to improve a little bit. But, overall, it'd be nice to see. You can see there was only 2 other points besides the players that were mentioned. So it'd be nice to see a little bit more consistent scoring from some of the other individuals. And so the Yotes came back home on Saturday, and it was the Native American Heritage showcase event. Mark, you were at the game on Saturday, and the Yotes hosted the Fighting Hawks from North Dakota and won 76-66. Attendance over 2,000 at this one, Mark.
Yeah,
Good turnout.
Good turnout. The Native American Heritage Day is. I really like the way USD does that. That's always a treat. They do it really, really well. I know there's a whole committee put together how they plan that out, but I always enjoy it. I look forward to it every year. The other thing, like I should have put the score sheet next to each other. Like the score sheets are very similar from Kansas City to Omaha. The difference was we shot 5 free throws in Kansas City, and I don't know, we shot many, many more versus Omaha. And we turned them over a lot. North Dakota had, I guess we'll see when we get to that page, but way more turnovers than we forced in Kansas City. And other than that, the numbers are, shooting wise and all that are pretty similar. It's the free throws and the turnovers we forced to get more shots.
21.
Yep. That was the difference in the game as far as I'm concerned. And Grace wasn't going to let 13 points happen again is the other one.
Yeah. And we were talking about this too, but when you watched this game against UND, the amount of assists Grace could have had, there were a lot of really good looks that just unfortunately didn't fall for some of the other gals. I mean, she could have had, what did she end up with again? She could have 12, 13, maybe more.
Easy. Yeah. They were getting great shots.
Good open shots too. Great shots. They were a little off the mark. They just didn't go in. But
I would say overall, that was kind of the thing that kind of the Yotes really struggled with on Saturday was the 3-point shooting.
Yep.
8 for 35 on the day. That's, not great. That's less than, 25% on the day. What's my percentage calculator here say? Not optimal in any regard. So definitely those were a lot of the ones where, Grace drives in, kicks it out, someone's open, just got to knock down those shots. Few other things though, besides Grace scoring 39, she had 5 steals on the game. Defensively, North Dakota was young. They had a lot of, some true freshmen in there. They had sophomore. They didn't have a senior on their roster, but Grace just was picking them apart out there.
Mm-hmm.
And then 12 rebounds for Grace Larkins. Phenomenal. And
she
then
was hungry.
Yeah, she made those darn free throws, Mark. She made them.
Correct.
12 out of 14.
Correct.
This one.
Yes. And the whole team shot 5 at Kansas City. So it's nice when the referees called a little closer to the vest. Helpful for us.
So there was a point near the end of this game where there was an official review, and I don't think it went the Yotes way, and the Midco camera zoomed in on you, Mark, and I don't have the video here, but you kind of made a little motion.
I can recreate it.
Yeah, you didn't seem too thrilled with the officials' calls on Saturday.
Yeah. I had my kid with me, or kids, and so I had to behave a little bit. So that's the best I could do to let the referees know I did not agree. It sounded like Jay Elson. I watched it back. Jay Elson didn't agree either.
Oh, well, that was a good win for the Yotes, and hopefully use that to springboard into some more success, continued success here over the next little bit. So here's the Summit League standings as of right now. South Dakota State still undefeated, 9-0. Oral Roberts is 7-2. North Dakota State is 7-2. But then after that, there's a big mix here where it's really anyone's game. Kansas City's 4-4. St. Thomas and South Dakota are both 4-5. North Dakota's 3-6. Omaha, Denver struggling a little bit. They're both down in that 1-8 range. But overall, there's some opportunities for the Yotes to make some ground in the standings here.
Yep.
Especially with the next 4 games being against those top 4 teams.
Well, you got to play everyone. Got to play everyone.
Yep.
All right. Mark, Grace Larkins, really good at basketball.
Really, really good at basketball. When I was making this list, there's obviously a lot of really, really great all-time greats at USD. Mandy Copel, Nicole Seecamp, Chloe Lamb, Hannah Shervin, a lot of really excellent basketball players, but only one player is on all 5 of those lists: points, rebounds, assists, free throws made, and steals. And her name is Grace Larkins. 3rd in points, as we mentioned earlier, 7th in rebounding, 5th in assists, 4th in free throws made, and 9th in steals all time.
Tied for 8th.
Yep, tied for 8th, correct. And I think USD actually has her at 196. So I don't know if they corrected the box score later, but in any case, I've never seen anything like Grace Larkins. I really haven't. She's amazing. Worth the price of a ticket, regardless of the score at the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you got a couple opportunities coming up the rest of the season here to go out and see Grace and the rest of the women's basketball team. So make sure to take advantage of that and try and get out and support the Yotes. Next up, Mark, you had wanted to mention this, so I'll let you go ahead and do that.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, so I was approached Monday at the radio show, Coach's Show, and asked if we would put this out there and get the word out. And I told them we'd be more than happy to. So I was handed a sheet of paper with some information. I'm just going to read from it. We're spearheading a fundraiser through the USD Foundation to establish the Bridget Orange Schumacher Endowment Fund. This endowment would directly support USD women's basketball program and student athletes through the funding of an entry-level or graduate assistant position. In order for the foundation to get this rolling, we need to raise $50,000. The response so far has been great, and we are happy to say we are closing in on that goal. She told me they were at $37,000 on Monday. I know, like all of us, getting hit up for donations is not fun, but this fundraiser is a real heart tugger for me, and I believe for a lot of USD basketball fans. We lost an amazing young lady who did so much for our program. Her dedication and determination were greatly appreciated, and we feel this would be a wonderful tribute to her and her legacy at USD. if you'd be interested in hearing more about this, Logan Bornholt with the USD Foundation would be happy to assist you to give you more information. And then the bottom half of this letter is basically that they're going to get a website set up where similar to the if you've been to the Coyote Brotherhood website, where you can donate directly through that website 24/7, 365. So I think I speak for all of us. Like, this is a great cause and a great way to remember just a tremendous person, not only basketball player, but person and family. So we're happy to get the word out there, and maybe we can clip this and make it just a little short video that we can retweet and get out there. But great cause.
Absolutely. Yep.
We'll keep our eyes and ears open for that website. And yeah, as Mark said, we'll retweet and post on our Facebook page.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Let's go ahead and move along to what's coming up this next week. We got men's basketball at Denver and at Oral Roberts. As you can see here, women's basketball is at home versus Oral Roberts on the 6th, which is Thursday, and then at NDSU on Saturday. And then softball, I know Mark has been really talking and teasing us here with softball the last few episodes, but they're back. They from their warm location, but then they're going to go play some softball here on February 7th, 8th, and 9th versus Texas Southern, East Texas A&M, Loyola Chicago, Stephen F. in Austin, East Texas A&M, Stephen F. Austin again, and they're all going to be played in Commerce, Texas.
And hopefully streamed. I don't know how in 2024, 25, we're not streaming these. It happens every year, but I hope they're streamed. I'm a big softball fan. I really enjoy watching them. So, and I know they're excited about their squad. So, go Yotes.
Go Yotes. Well, make sure to get out and support the Coyotes this week if you can. Our plan is next week is it's the Super Bowl. I think they call it the big game. I don't know what we can say, what we can't say.
Football's still going on.
Yeah, who cares? But because of that, we'll probably not have a show next week. Just pay attention to the socials for that. But we'll be back in a couple weeks to give you recaps for all the games we just mentioned, what's going on, things like that. We mentioned earlier, where do you go for highlights for all the information?
GoYotes.com.
GoYotes.com. Make sure to check that out. Hit it up. But let's go ahead and finish with this. And now.
And that's just what they wanted to do there. And all things considered, again, as you see the eye chart cardboard cutout, how appropriate that.
Through the review, the eye chart made its way to the video board. It really injected some energy.
Mark Wendt is famous for holding up that eye chart at sporting events where officials make questionable calls during basketball games. We also are going to have our eye chart moments of the week where we question things that either happened at games, in life, or just in general over what happened. And that's kind of how we do it. And so, Mark, last time we met a couple weeks ago here, the nominees were Chad Berger, and then that should have been the winner. And then the other nominee was
Jordan's brother. And
Jordan's brother.
Chad's Tropical Night Fail won overwhelmingly with almost 64% of the vote.
Yeah. I went on all my burner accounts and voted for it. Yeah. So since that was your pick, why don't you lead us off with your eye chart of the week?
My eye chart of the week goes to a Twitter account holder, or former now Twitter account holder, Mr. Dexter Moore, who decided to tweet at me after the Omaha game. He must have had money on Omaha, or was it Maverick fan? I don't know, but he made some rather lewd comments to me So much so that I decided I was curious about his profile picture. It was looks like a husband and wife or boyfriend and girlfriend. So Google has this great feature where you can search for images. And lo and behold, I found Dexter. Only his name was not Dexter. His name was Travis. He used his real picture on his burner account to talk smack. So then I decided to reply to Dexter, and I used his real name and his wife's name, who I won't use here because I don't think she's involved in any of this. The account quickly got deleted, but he wasn't done. Travis decided to make a burner account in my name. So then I decided that I would mention that I knew where he worked. And then the Mark Wendt account disappeared as well. So my eye chart of the week goes to Travis out in Wisconsin for just failing at being a troll. And I know who you are, so you're my nominee, buddy.
Don't F around with at WDiamond605. Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's great. Jordan, give us your eye chart of the week.
I don't know how to follow that. I really don't. I wrote it down about 30 seconds ago, and it was my eye chart of the week is Kansas basketball blowing a 21-point lead, the largest blown lead in their history to Baylor. They ended up losing by 11, so a 32-point swing. So my eye chart, Rock Chalk Jayhawks this week.
Interesting. Well, I was going to mention, did we talk about this photo in the upper right-hand corner here? It's actually Summit League official Mark Riggs, who he's just a great guy. He's always seems like he's having a good time out there on the court, and he posed for this one with us a couple weeks ago, and so that was kind of fun. But I'll go ahead and give my eye chart of the week for this week. My eye chart goes to my two colleagues here, Mark and Jordan. Mark was typing up the slides the other day and sent a screenshot of it, and he had on there the scores of games and the scores in which USD was on the lower end of the scoring event. Mark still listed that score first, which, of course, I replied to right away. And I said, hey, you always should list the higher score first as opposed to the lower score, which turned into the two of them kind of attacking me in this group text. And so I put it out there to a Twitter or X poll. Which score should go first when you're reporting a score, when you're, listing a score? Should it be the largest score first, or should it be your team's score first? And overwhelmingly, I think it was 87% of the respondents agreed with me that the larger score should go first. And I won't even begin to list some of the people that I have on my side, but I've got some very good people who may have been former guests of this show as well, who agree with me on this one. So because of that, Mark and Jordan, you get my eye chart of the week.
Yeah, you're wrong.
In the interest of time, not getting into it. So when you lose this eye chart of the week nominee, are we announcing yours first or last? Are you going to say I lost 15 to 30 to 55?
Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, hopefully everyone out there enjoyed the show tonight. Great job by our guest, Max Burchill, coming on and joining us. And, we're looking forward to the next couple weeks. Hopefully all of you are too. Make sure to get out there and support the Coyotes if they're at home. If not, you can always watch on what is it, Midco Sports Plus, the Summit League Network.
Summit League Network.
Go ahead and tune into that. If you don't have access to that, you can sign up. It's relatively inexpensive. But make sure to cheer on the Yotes, support the Yotes. Go to goyotes.com. Make sure to follow up with what's going on. And that's about it for tonight.
Yeah, Summit League Network. I mean, guys, folks that are listening, if you don't have it now, I mean, we're in February now, so you're looking at February and March. You know, that's $17 total if you just want to go month by month, and you get to have all the Coyote games past and present. So I would highly suggest getting it.
Yep.
All right. Well, any final comments before we take off for the night, gentlemen?
Good to be
Mark,
back.
see you Thursday.
What's that?
See you Thursday. Big game for the women's team.
Can't wait. Let's do it.
Are you guys going to be in 106 row 2?
I'll be there.
That's where we live.
Looking forward to watching you on that one. All right. Well, for Jordan Decker and for Mark Wendt, I'm Chad Berger. Until next time, go Yotes.
Go Yotes.